Welcome to the news on Enyimba TV. We are reaching you from the commercial city of Aba. First, the headlines. Residents of Umatako and Oriako streets in Aba lament the deplorable condition of their roads. House of Reps plead against anti-government protest, accept 50% salary cut for members. Federal government and organized labor agree on 70,000 naira minimum wage. Thanks for joining us on the news at this time. I am Mary Ihejirika. Now the news in details. Road infrastructure is a critical component of development, impacting economic growth, public safety, and quality of life. Some streets in Aba metropolis are still grappling with challenges posed by poorly maintained roads. In this report filed by Esther Chima, residents of Umatako and Oriako streets are lamenting the negative effects of flood water resulting from bad road that is now evicting them from their homes.
When there are bad road conditions, then accidents are more prone to happen. Bad and poorly maintained roads have caused almost half of car accidents that has been recorded. For residents and motorists in Umatako and Oriako streets Aba, transportation in and out of their current location has been a nightmare, which has inflicted untold hardship on them. Umatako Road is home to a large population of Aba residents. It also houses hospitals, schools, and a relaxation center. Residents also alleged that the governor of Abia State lived in Umatako, even as they confirm that the governor's house is still standing in the area. Looking at the road, which is flooded and nearly deserted, one can fully understand the predicament of the people living there. Mr. Chisom Obrulogo, a keke rider, appealed to the government to, as a matter of urgency, come to their aid as they spend every penny they make fixing their keke due to the poor condition of the road.
La ozo Umatako stroku Oriako. Because I talk a government be aka because I behind there's a pass without keke. Because I came back 2 years and then now I am suffer losa and the keke abali ala losa puliche. Each ga okwim basara osa. I will like an 40 pass ga baje benda to solo. We keke make a woolly to say Lukovika dan easy. I end the ticket every day and go emblem. So I had again behind him behind him I had the benefit here. So I did when they were back with the keke. A meaning to all sabo. I will give you the video game again maybe got an no. Nyalila chill and mini ba. Either back if for aka make half a dollar mini. Keke me only me got. Some people merosia or when a keke gave treating down. So I'm behind that second nyaka. Can you make they were that one again behind the arrow.
His colleague, who spoke without mentioning his name, frowned at the state of the road and urged the administration of Alex Oti to expedite action as the rains are already here.
Because I na the governor na say because mole no Umatako road. I wearing schools eba, I wearing compense eba na me offload. Eba when hospital because I na governor Choma Oti. Okwano la Oriako kwa lobi obi kwa ola no kwa Oriako ai na rekwa biko yechefulani.
Good road network is essential for economic growth, stability, and social change. Years of backwardness and utter frustrations, which has been the lot of the Umatako and Oriako streets, can come to an end if government will come to their aid as a matter of urgency. Esther Chima reporting.
We are still continuing with the coverage of the power situation in Aba metropolis, where power supply is still set to be epileptic in some areas. Residents of Winner Street have mixed reactions on power supply in their area. Our correspondent Amarachi Osondu spoke to a cross-section of individuals in their area. Her reports.
Economic crisis following the recent tariff hike and poor power supply in Aba, coupled with hike in price of fuel. The issue of regular power outages, unstable power supply, among others, has become the order of the day in Aba. A pharmacist in the area, Dr. Ben, who spoke to us, complained of poor power supply in the area.
Dr. Ben Road. I'm a pharmacist. Here we have light sporadically. Sometimes for a week we will never get light.
He claimed that they do not make use of it during work hours. He expressed his delight over the sudden power supply in the area, which has lasted for some days.
For some days, not man who talk here somehow. But the problem the bill is too much. That's why I'm not here now. But the bill is too much.
The frustration is compounded by the monthly billing, which often runs at variance with energy consumed. According to the people, there is noticeable improvement in power supply in the community, and they wish it becomes permanent. Amarachi Osondo reporting.
Federal government and the organized labor have agreed on 70,000 naira as a new national minimum wage. This is the outcome of the latest meeting between President Bola Tinubu and leadership of the organized labor, which took place at the presidential villa, Abuja. Briefing State House correspondents on the agreement, the Minister of Information, Alhaji Muhammad Idris, said the government would make massive investment in facilities that would make life better for Nigerian workers. Meanwhile, President of the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, Joe Ajero, said the organized labor rejected a proposal by President Bola Tinubu to pay 250,000 naira minimum wage and increase petrol prices, while his TUC counterpart Festus Osifo said the next review will be 3 years.
Labour came last week. They had meeting with Mr. President. They adjourned, asked for adjournment for a week to go and consult further. They did those consultations. They have come back today, and we have met with Mr. President. We are happy to announce today that both the federal government and the organized labor have agreed on an increase on the 62,000 naira minimum wage. The new national minimum wage that we expect Mr. President to submit to the National Assembly for legislation is 70,000 naira. But that is not all. There is also a boost, like Mr. President has assured, in ensuring that massive investment is going to be made in the area of infrastructure.
What they have announced in terms of the amount of 70,000 happen to be where we are now. So now. But the good thing about it is that we will not wait for another 5 years to come and review. Rather than accepting on a figure that you wait for 5 years, it's like you have to now negotiate even 2 times within 5 years.
Nigeria Police FCT Command attempted to stop members of the Joint Action Committee (JAC) of the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities (SANU) and the Non-Academic Staff Union of Educational and Associated Institutions (NASU), who had assembled in Abuja to protest the continued withholding of their members' salaries. As the leadership of JAC started to address members of Unity Fountain, the FCT Commissioner of Police, Benneth Igwe, reportedly arrived and warned that the protest will not be allowed to proceed. Despite entreaties from the union leaders, the police used armored vehicles and Hilux vans to block the gates and prevented the protesters from moving. The leadership of the unions addressed the protesters while leaving their members behind to submit letter of protest at the Ministry of Labour and Employment. A bill seeking to establish a local government independent electoral commission has passed its first reading at the Senate. The bill was passed during plenary after the Senate leader Opeyemi Bamidele introduced it. It seeks to establish a national independent local government electoral commission, NELGEC, responsible for conducting elections to the office of the local government chairman and councillors and any other matter thereof to do with local government as a third tier of government. A bill seeking to establish the South-South Development Commission has been stepped down by the Senate. The bill, sponsored by Senator Asokwa Ekpeyong, representing Cross River South, failed to scale second reading after a voice vote where lawmakers unanimously declined to give backing to the bill. In a debate, the lawmakers argued about the propriety of establishing multiple agencies, particularly against the backdrop of an existing commission in the Niger Delta. In the issuing voice vote, the House became polarized, and after the voice vote, the bill was stepped down for further consultation. House of Representatives is supporting the federal government with 648 million naira for 6 months by cutting down their salaries by 50% to support food sufficiency across the country and to address the high cost of food. The resolutions follow the adoption of a motion moved by the floor of the House by Honorable Ibrahim Ishaka during plenary in Abuja. The motion is an appeal to the proponents of proposed nationwide protests to maintain peace, eschew violence, and open the windows for meaningful engagement with the government. Contributing to the motion, the Deputy Speaker of the House, Benjamin Kalu, moved the motion for lawmakers to support the federal government with 50% of their salaries for 6 months. House of Representatives has resolved to set up an ad hoc committee to investigate the alleged conspiracy by international oil companies, IOCs, against Dangote Refinery. This resolution follows a motion of urgent public importance moved by the minority leader Kingsley Chinda, PDP Rivers. The yet-to-be-constituted committee will also probe the inability of NNPC Limited to acquire the 20% stake in the Dangote Refinery. The committee is set to submit a report to the House within 4 weeks. Mr. Chinda said the alleged conspiracy undermines the refinery's performance from complete optimization. Minister of Education Tahir Maman has granted approval for the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board JAMB and Nigerian tertiary institutions to admit candidates from the age of 16. This followed objections and pleas by heads of tertiary institutions present at the policy meeting on the 2024 admission organized by JAMB and held in Abuja. The minister had earlier in his speech directed the institutions not to admit candidates under 18. The minister's comment drew loud grumbles from the audience, consisting mainly of heads of tertiary institutions, registrars, and their admission officers. But the minister said it was a matter of law and policies, adding that it does not require his comment as it was a provision of Nigeria's policy on education. Former Deputy Governor of Edo, Philip Shaibu, and the governorship candidates of the All Progressives Congress, APC, in the state, Monday, Okpobolo, escaped death when their convoy was attacked in Benin City by suspected gunmen. The incident happened near the Benin airport shortly after the two politicians arrived to a rousing welcome by their supporters. Eyewitnesses to Enyimba TV said their convoy came under attack at the exit gate of the airport when some gunmen in a Sienna car opened fire at them. Meanwhile, the Edo State APC chairman Jared Tenebe is blaming the state government and the governor of being behind the unrest in the state. Meanwhile, Edo State Police Command has confirmed that police officer identified as Onwako attached to the APC candidates in the state was killed during the exchange of fire between assailant and security operatives attached to the APC candidate and the Edo State former deputy governor. The police spokesperson in the state, Chidi Mwabozo, confirmed this while addressing journalists in Benin City, adding that anyone found culpable would be made to face the law. In the meantime, the Edo State government is condemning the wanton destruction of properties perpetrated by these described as political thugs working with the former deputy governor Philip Shaibu in the guise of enforcing judgment reinstating him. An aide to Governor Obaseki, Cruzo Osage, during a Monitor television interview said investigation will be carried out and those found wanted will be prosecuted. Court of Appeal in Abuja has affirmed the re-election of Doyidiri as the governor of Bayelsa State. The three-member panel of justices led by James Abudanga held in a unanimous judgment that the appeal filed by the appellant Timothy Silva and his party, the All Progressives Congress APC, lacked merit. The panel held that the tribunal was not in error when it struck out several paragraphs of the petitioner's reply against the governor's election while awarding a cost of 500,000 naira against Mr. Silva and his party, the APC. You're watching Enyimba TV News. After the short break, the news continues with foreign, business and sports update. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back and thanks for staying tuned. Now the news continues. We begin with foreign. A Kenyan court has suspended a move by the police to ban protests in the capital, Nairobi, and surrounding areas until further notice. The police had issued the order citing their leaderless nature that has made it difficult to enforce safety, urging the protests had been infiltrated by criminals. It came after a month of anti-government protests in which scores of people have been killed. The High Court later temporarily suspended the order pending the hearing of a suit filed by a civil rights organization. The protests began against unpopular tax rises, but after they were withdrawn, have broadened out to include demand for President William Ruto to resign. And on business, Nigerian banks are at risk of facing profit and capital adequacy decline as the federal government plans to tax their 50% profit realized from foreign exchange FX revaluation in 2023. President Bola Tinubu has asked legislators for an upward review of the 2024 Appropriation Act by 6.2 trillion naira, thus taking the total proposed expenditure to 34.9 trillion naira, up from the previous budget estimated by 28.7 trillion naira. But he also plans to tax banks' windfall from foreign exchange gains. In 2023, 8 Nigerian banks made 754.8 billion naira in foreign exchange revaluation gains, largely on the back of the liberalization of the FX regime. The implication of the tax on banks is that the financial institutions will face a significant tax burden. And finally, on sports, AFCON 2023 champions Elephants of Cote d'Ivoire have overtaken the Super Eagles of Nigeria in the current ranking released by FIFA. With the spate of poor results from the ongoing World Cup qualifying tournament, Nigeria dropped from 38th to 39th position and now rank 5th in the continent. There has been a steady drop in the Eagles' ranking lately following dismal post-AFCON 2023 performances. Most appalling is the fact that Super Eagles have not won any World Cup qualifying match since their 2-0 defeat of Liberia on November 13, 2021. They have since gone 7 matches without winning any. Nigeria moved 14 places up to 28th position in the world after AFCON in February, but since suffered a decline in the last 3 consecutive rankings. With the sports story, we'll wrap up this edition of news on Enyimba TV at this time. But before we go, here is a recap of the top stories. In the news, we told you that residents of Umuatako and Oriako streets in Aba have lamented the deplorable condition of their roads. We also told you that House of Reps has pled against anti-government protests and accepted 50% salary cut for members. And we told you federal government and organized labor have agreed on 70,000 naira minimum wage. That's our package of news for now. Please join us for more updates in our subsequent bulletins. Meanwhile, don't forget to subscribe to this channel on YouTube. Click on the notification bell to receive alerts when new videos are uploaded. Thank you for watching. On behalf of the production team, I am Mary Ihejirika saying, do have yourself a wonderful day.